What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 71 of the Left Coast Leafs podcast. I'm Sean Orge with my good buddy Trevor Bast. This is the ultimate free agent signing pre-John Tavares, the David Clarkson podcast.
David Clarkson. Do you actually think that whole preseason incident and the suspension blew that entire thing up, or was he just going to be a bust?
It just, if you looked at the stats, it had bust written all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did score a high number of goals in the previous year, but they were on the power play, mucking around the net.
Yeah.
And it's just like it wasn't something where it never felt right. Like it never felt like this is a savior.
Like that was sort of pre-analytics community. Like I wonder what the analytics community would have said about the cautionary tales about him not sustaining that based on certain numbers before he signed it, and if that was a big thing, had the Leafs maybe never would have gone down that road because
the classic quote from Dave Nonis: "I'm not worried about year one. I'm worried about year 6 or 7 or something."
He didn't make it to year 1. He got fucking suspended 10 games.
But right now he is on year 7 though with the Leafs.
That's true. He's back. Yeah, we're happy to have him.
You know what?
He opened up that important LTIR money.
Talk about a guy that hit the lottery, though.
Oh, he's doing okay. He's not quite. It's not quite. What's that baseball player? But it's not quite Bobby Bonilla type of situation.
Do you think he's choked that he got traded back to Toronto? Because he would have been in Vegas getting that state free tax. Like no tax in Vegas,
right?
And then in Toronto, he's getting taxed at 50+%.
Oh. Yeah, that's actually pretty true. That's a good point because he's not even active. He's not even enjoying the fruits of anything right now.
You don't seem pleasant tonight. You just seem like you're almost a little mopey.
I just had a pierogi meal. Maybe that's weighing heavy in my belly.
I think something else is weighing heavy on you.
Just the Leafs. Just the general malaise of the team. You know, at the beginning we thought like it was all going to be like unicorn farts and great stuff from the start of the year, but we're kind of hitting some adversity early here.
Did you know there's a bit emoji that you can get of you as a unicorn farting and blasting off into space?
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a thing.
And that's a...
Are you a bit emoji guy?
No, I made one. I wasn't happy with it. I don't think it captured me properly, so I've never used it.
Like too old or...
Just didn't do me justice.
Crusty?
It couldn't do me justice. It was too crusty. So it's pretty straight up beer story today. Texted, picked up the beer, didn't see Wyatt. I just walk in the back and get it myself now.
Was Cooler guy there?
No, I think he's gone. I haven't seen him for a while.
Like fired gone?
He might have moved on.
Okay.
He seemed pretty ambitious. Yeah, I didn't think he'd be a Cooler guy forever.
So what do we got today?
Oh my God, this is fucking hilarious. This is actually kind of cool. I'll tell you why it's hilarious. 4 Mile Brewing Company, which is only like maybe 4 kilometers down the road. We've had their beer before.
Very nice.
Actually, they were my beer of the year last year with rice pudding stout.
Ooh, very good beer.
That was so good. This is the Level Ground Coffee Lager. So a coffee collab with these guys. So it's a 4.8% alcohol volume, 11 IBU. So it's not a strong heavy beer. And they're a family-owned brewery that focuses on all things beer. So there you go. 4 Mile, great solid beer, great beer.
So
they have growler fills there.
You're a big growler fill guy.
You know why this is hilarious?
Why?
Because Reggie's here.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'm not going to bring 2 beer home for you and I, and then not give him one if he wants a beer too, right?
That's fair.
I bought him this beer.
Come on.
Honest to God, I did.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so it ended up being our bag beer.
That's insane.
That is insane, man. That's I got some good karma going on. It means
So-
I'm usually right about things. So what am I going to be right about on this podcast?
But last pod first, we introduced a new beer ranking ratings
Yes.
based off of listener feedback. A lot of hard work there.
Yeah.
Even though you came pretty unprepared to the pod. What did we end up choosing?
We are going on a 3-star system. So
Very Hockey Night in Canada-esque.
but reverse 3 stars, because on Hockey Night in Canada, the first star is the
best star.
yeah, the best. I was trying to think of the French call out that the guy at the Forum always used to do, but I couldn't figure it out. And so that's like a one and done. Like you'd have one of those, and that's enough. Like Roman Polak glassing out. That's our 1-star beer.
Yep.
Our 2-star beer.
That's the
worth
Zach
another
Hyman
look.
one.
Yeah, like a Zach Hyman forecheck. Good, gets the job done, but
just
you're kind
not-
of looking for more if you're going to go
Not
deep.
quite enough.
Because the scale is it's a crushability scale.
It is the
Right?
crushability scale.
That's what we have to point out. It says, how crushable is this beer? Because like you don't not drink beer to crush it, right? Like
Sometimes.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And then 3 stars, Austin Matthews on opening night, especially versus Ottawa. You just can't get enough of that.
It's a very nutty beer.
It's very nutty.
Like before the beer even hit my lips, I already had nuts on the brain.
No kidding, eh?
Just nuts.
Huh. Maybe that's because you've been home all weekend and you're just feeling nuts.
Just a nutty
How
guy.
was Ontario?
It was good. That was the first time being home in Thanksgiving in like 12, 13-ish years.
Yeah.
So it was really good to be home, see family, be able to relax and recharge after busy few months of work. Had a great meal.
Nice.
Now, my first like a meal like that in a long time. So it was very dialed in.
How's the family feel about the Leafs? What's the Ontario vibe? Is everyone pretty optimistic or a little bit let down right now?
I think it's so early in the year. It's like people like it's not too getting too high or getting too low. Like we watched the game on Saturday night against Detroit, and obviously the Leafs played quite well.
Yeah, it's fun to win.
But you're playing against Detroit though, and it's kind of like meh. Like you should beat this team.
Well, that's
And-
what they've done this year. They've beaten the teams they should, and they haven't beaten the teams we'd like them to.
No, and even like last night playing Washington, we're gonna get into it a little bit, but this is it. Finally, it really like brought me down. Being like, we should have played Anderson that game. Like that's a big game against Washington,
Yeah.
and you don't play our guy, and it's just kind of like, eh.
We'll get into the goalie scene later, the backup goalie formula and all that kind of stuff. But there was breaking news today. Like actual, not just like CNN, every story is breaking news. There was actual breaking Leaf news today, and it wasn't good.
No, obviously, the injury to JT, minimum 2 weeks. This is going to be... The one good thing is we've played so many games already
Yeah.
where we won't have such
actually do
a
have some in
heavy
the bank.
schedule. But I
It's our
think...
captain, man.
I know. And it's going to hurt. But I'm less... like. I just don't know what Babcock's going to do. Like, I don't know what he's going to go with this. Like, I don't see a chance of Nylander being put at center.
You don't see a chance of that?
Babcock hates that. He hates Nylander at center.
But it's always the fallback position.
But then he does a period of it, and Babcock's like can't handle it, and he just...
Well, he stuck with it the entire Kadri suspension in the playoffs because he had no choice, right?
Yeah.
What are his choices this year? Matthews, Kerfoot.
Well, you move Kerfoot up into that second line center,
Okay.
or the other option is you move Marner up to the Matthews line. That's a potential. Jonas Siegel put a good article out this afternoon just on what options are available. One being more reliant on the GOAT. The GOAT's been very good this year.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I can't believe the GOAT's on this team.
If you were to just, that guy's earned his minutes so far this year, and I'm happy for him.
Is the GOAT your
More
favorite
happy for
player?
me.
Is it GOAT your favorite player?
He's
Like,
more
outside
like
of the big guys.
He's more like my favorite novelty player. I don't idolize players anymore, really.
Is he like
They're all
that-
just disposable pieces of a cup puzzle to me.
Would you compare it to like that drunk uncle that always brings a smile to your face?
Well, my drunk uncle died tragically, so no, I don't think so.
Jeez, that got a little bit morbid there.
I know, but yeah, I think so. I think he's like the character of the he's the character of the family. Although he's not outwardly flamboyant, or he doesn't do it behind the microphone. It's the stories of the goat that makes the goat, not actually the goat. Right?
Do you like how Babcock just calls him goat? Like, not the goat?
The only thing I will ever like about the Babcock era when it's over is how he just like nicknamed players and then used it, and they were just so simple. Yeah. I do enjoy that casual nature about him. But would you even consider like taking Spezza and having him leapfrog goat to the third line center role that was an
interesting part of Jonas's article, where it brought up you have Spezza who's been in the press box for 5 of the 8 games so far. How do you see a guy that can't even crack the lineup jump into a third or potentially second line role on a team?
Well, he hasn't been in the lineup because they kind of because of with the luxury of the injury to Hyman, they were able to make a sort of continue the tryout into the regular season, which is a nice luxury. And the Shore Timashov pair basically kind of won themselves the job more than Spezza losing himself the job.
Do you think Shore then goes up to that third line center role?
No, I don't think so.
The GOAT?
Like, I think it's almost a situation where like this is maybe accidentally why you ended up signing a guy like Spezza. Like maybe Dubas is like, this is kind of why we got this guy. Let's use him. He's a very smart veteran player.
There's no option for a call up too.
No, there's
because
maxed out.
They're maxed out, and you can't put them on LTIR because if you do, it's a minimum of 10 games or like 20 some odd days.
Yes, they have to commit him for 10 days or 24
10
days.
Games.
10 games or 24 days.
Yeah.
Or 24 days.
That's just not realistic here if it's a 2-week thing.
Well, it's always, it's a 2-week minimum, then a reassessment. But they know better. I don't even know what finger it is on what hand or anything like that. You got hit by a Riley shot. You're smirking.
Yeah.
But what about this? Okay, everyone that I see refers to the JT line as the first line. It's just what they do, right?
1A, 1B.
Yeah, but more so that's the first line in when people write about it and talk about it. So if your first line center goes down, what typically happens? Your second line center becomes your first line center. So
But that's not typical here, though.
No, we're not a very typical team. But I would love it if Matthews just jumped into JT's spots and inherited his wingers. I just think that might be a little too... Like, I don't want to say
It'd be different if Hyman was in the lineup.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to say that Babcock would not want that to succeed, but I just don't think he'd want to deal with the ramifications of that being like a crazy slam dunk success when JT comes back.
You think that decision is too difficult for him?
I think it is. I think he's always thinking many steps ahead, but not in the right way. Like, he's thinking of, how do I cover my ass? Like, he would want that to be a success, but he wouldn't want to take the heat for going away from it when JT came back, if you know what I mean. Like I think that's how he's wired. Like, I don't think he wants to not have team success.
Speaking along those lines, just with the difficulty of decisions, the backup goaltending scenario is like, he's already made the decision for the entire year of who starts what game.
Yeah.
And I just think you have to go with, like, I'm at that point, like, how do you not start Anderson against Washington? But that's a big game. And I can't fathom how you don't go with your big guy there.
I put it kind of out there on Twitter today, and I got some spicy replies. Like, there's a lot of people who are 100% behind his thinking, because I apparently the numbers work out that when a team does that, they end up with more points than when a team doesn't do that. But
at what point do you go with your gut though?
Well, that's the thing. Like that's the whole like analytics thing is like, when does the gut come into play? And if Twitter is any indication, like let's say you have a situation where you have a good starter and a good backup, and you can do that the entire year because the numbers favor that. Okay. But according to a lot of people, we apparently have the worst backup in the league. So maybe you set him up for success a bit more than failure. I'm being
not
a bit
high on Hutch.
like I'm not high on just not using your gut though. Like sometimes you got to protect your players. Like Babcock, he tends to throw people under the bus a little bit, or a lot, or every time. You know what I mean? Like,
do you like Hutchison? Like, do you think he's a capable backup?
I do. I think he's a capable backup.
I don't.
I thought Sparks was a capable backup, but I think this situation. See, goalies are weird to begin with.
Getting rid of McElhaney was one of the worst decisions Dubas has made.
Yeah, I mean, I think McElhaney is a bit of an anomaly. I think he was a veteran first of all, and now we're not dealing with like really long-standing veterans, especially with Sparks. He was the opposite of a veteran.
Yeah.
And he kind of had that mentality, and he did it, and he caught lightning in a bottle. And quite frankly, I think the team was just more cohesive in front of him than they are right now for some reason. They seem to be even more scrambly now than they were back then. I'm not sure what's going on. That's a story for another day or another podcast. But sometimes you have to massage your goalies a little bit that way. Like, there's nothing worse than an unconfident backup goalie who plays sometimes every 10, 12 days if the schedule.
Then the team doesn't perform either in front of it.
No, so let's take this. Yeah, let's take this weekend for example. Okay, we have back-to-backs coming up again. And so what's the scenario? We got Boston on Saturday, right?
You put out the lineup for the next 6 games. Like it's
no, that was the previous game since our last podcast.
No, you tweeted it out.
Oh yes, yeah.
Boston a few times. Like it's not an easy schedule.
No, it's not an easy schedule. But okay, what's the back-to-back scenario for this coming weekend?
Are you pulling up the tweet?
I think we're gonna have. Okay, we're gonna have Saturday night. We're gonna have Freddie and Net for Boston.
Has to be.
And then on Monday, they're versus Columbus.
Yep.
And Freddie will play that game. And then Tuesday back in Boston, and it will be Hutchinson's game.
But that's
I think that's crazy.
Play Freddie on Tuesday.
Sparks played against Boston last year too in that exact same situation.
It's good to not. This whole thing is not going to go away if
it ain't going away. No,
especially with Saturday night in Toronto. Like that's a big fucking game.
And that's going to be Freddie because it's not a back-to-back.
Yeah,
but Monday, Tuesday is a back-to-back.
That's still like those are big
huge games against Boston, and like
Columbus is terrible too.
I think people make too much of playing your starter. When in the second night when you have tired legs. Come on, I mean, these guys are professional athletes. Teams do win the second half of back-to-backs.
Yeah,
like these guys are conditioned to do this stuff.
Yeah,
right. They do it only 14 times a year. These guys aren't you and I going out there and doing back-to-backs in the NHL. The Leafs played fine against Washington with the exception of 3 minutes last night. They had their legs the entire night. That wasn't a problem. And Freddie's in that game, and they probably
also
win
the not getting the top line out in the last 2.5 minutes.
The top player, like Matthews,
that whole last 2.5 minute sequence was just terrible. Where it's like, holy fuck, guys! Like
I had a pretty animated Twitter conversation with Mike from the Regal Beagle in Vancouver, who was on the pod. No, but he was really staunch that. There was no chance in hell to get Matthews on the ice because they had the pressure, and you don't peel a guy off in that situation. Like I say, you do. I say people do it all the time.
I was kind of hoping they just brought the puck out.
and regrouped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they weren't doing anything. It was just
They weren't
like
getting chances.
they were just moving the puck around the fringe.
Yeah, they weren't getting chances. So I think that like when you have that kind of a weapon, like if your weapon on the bench is some lesser scorer, yeah, maybe you don't make a priority to get him out there. But I think either Cappy or Kerfoot has to peel off.
Oh yeah.
Skate the 100 feet.
Was Marner on the ice?
Yeah, he was on the ice.
Marner and JT were?
Marner and JT were, yeah. Willie was on. And then you had Barry
Riley,
Kerfoot.
And Kapanen was on the ice too, though.
Yeah, it's for
one
some
of the big guys weren't out there. Willie was out there. Kapanen was out there. Kerfoot was out there. Barry, Riley, and I believe it was JT. So Marner and Matthews were not on the ice.
Yeah. So
But
that's I mean,
whatever.
you can't plan for two minutes of straight zone time. You typically you're going to get an icing call or something like that, or a frozen puck by the goalie. But in once a minute hits, because those Washington players were gassed.
Yeah,
you could have went D to D for 5 seconds while that change was made.
100%.
And that's but back to that goalie situation though for a minute. Like I just think you have to set that backup goalie up for success. Like I think there was a point last year where when his save percentage wasn't spectacular, Sparks was 6-2. That's all you go and ask your goalie to do, your backup goalie to do.
Win games.
Yeah, win games. He won 6. He was 6-2.
Hutchison's not winning us games though.
No, but the team is lackluster. I mean, the team is not who we thought they were going to be coming out of the gate.
Anderson's winning games though.
Anderson wins. Yeah.
Just saying.
So we're losing those second halves of the back-to-backs. Is that our 3 losses? Well, Anderson lost to...
yeah. Well,
Anderson
no.
lost one game.
The Lightning game as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So, like, you're looking at our last 5. So, tight game against St. Louis, just lose.
Yeah.
Absolute shit kicked by Lightning in the third period. Pumped Detroit. Beat Wild handily. Lose a game where we should have won against Washington.
Yeah, up 2-0.
So, like, we've played 8 games so far. We've played the most in our division. And with really weird scheduling. I read last night where we've played 8. The New York Rangers had 3. Like, just...
Well, I think Philly was at 2.
They
Philly and Chicago, they started in Europe, yeah.
But New York, like, just oddities at the schedule.
Yeah.
Like, fuck schedule, guy.
It always starts out like this. Somebody just plays a ton of games.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get our share of breaks, I guess, throughout the year. What do you think's ailing this team right now? Like, what do you see as holding them back from like going out and just having a really elite effort against the good teams?
They just seem not to care yet. Like, they're not dialed in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that's because like Hyman and Dermott aren't here. Like, the team is here, but they're not starting games on time. It's very lackadaisical. It's very, we have so much skill. We'll be able to do it. It could be part 2. Like, all their guys have been paid now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, hey, we got our money. Like,
I'd like to think that doesn't exist.
Come on.
I know.
If you made $11 million a year, you'd be like,
I don't know if I would. I mean, I don't know if a guy like Marner, I don't think, you know what? I got to take back a lot of grief I've given Zach Hyman over the years.
I asked you this. He's one of our best players.
You know what it is? And I think it's an intangible quality. If you put him and Kapanen in a skills competition, Kapanen would kick his ass.
Yes.
Zach Hyman knows how to facilitate good players. There's just something there.
Good or good?
Really good, great players. He knows how to do it. He knows how to get in there, but stay out of their way, get in the puck, get it back the second time if he needs to. Like, I don't know. He just knows that. And Kapanen is what he is, like a really good penalty killing third liner. But he didn't mesh with Matthews last year. He didn't mesh with these guys. I love the guy, but Hyman is a different breed of a player. Do you know that when Babcock was the coach of the Wings and Hyman was a freshman at Michigan, like he's been watching him for years. Like Babcock has had a love on for Hyman. since like early on. Yeah, I didn't make that connection until I heard it, but yeah, he's been watching. He liked what he saw from him a long time ago. Maybe he thought he was the second coming of Luke Glendenning, hey?
So we have a big Hyman contract coming up next year.
Is he's not due next year, is he?
No, I don't think so.
Nah, he's got one more year.
What do you expect? Like, this is a huge game Saturday night in Toronto. Boston's coming to town. It sucks JT's not going to be there, but regardless, what are you expecting? Like, is it going to be a loud building?
In the Scotiabank Arena?
Yes.
It'll be loud when they score.
When who scores?
The Leafs score.
Okay.
I think that's going to be a competitive game. I'm a little bit worried about the game back in Boston on Tuesday. I think the Leafs are going to win on Saturday night. I think Anderson is going to start looking at the calendar. It's on the November side of October now, and so maybe he's going to start getting into November Freddy mode. What do you think?
I think it's going to be. I think Boston's going to roll us. I think Boston's going to come
on Saturday night
and shit kick us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, that happens, and those are the
I'm not saying it's going to be as a bad thing.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's a long season.
But
I do think every moment counts.
I'm there too.
This team's got a lot to figure out. I can't believe I'm saying this. There's a lot of new players, but the problems seem to always be the same. I think Barry and Riley, they need to just maybe peel it back a little bit on the jump up stuff.
They're competing with each other.
I don't know, but I think they're very amped up out there. They want to jump in, and maybe they just got to be one step behind. The coverages are actually really bad. What's your okay? Let's do this. The Leafs record. If JT misses 8 games, what's their record? They got some tough games in there. Is it going to be a Crosby-Malkin situation where other guys step up and they actually do well in that situation?
Well, I think it's realistic, though. He's going to probably, it's probably going to be closer to 6 games at a 2-week scenario.
Okay.
So let's use the next 6. They have Boston, Columbus, Boston, San Jose, Montreal, Washington. I'm going to go with a...
Those are hard games. Like, I don't even though they beat Columbus, I don't see them as a layover team at all.
2-4.
2-4, hey?
Yeah.
Huh. Are we going to be happy with how Austin Matthews stepped up after those 6 games? Or are we going to be wanting more from him after those 6 games?
Wanting more.
Wanting more?
Yeah.
I think it depends on who his line mates are. Like, I think if he steps into the Mitch and Moore, the triple M line
instead of Nylander.
Yeah, I think if he goes and takes JT's spot, I think Poppy's going to rise to the occasion. I think this might be the opportunity he's looking for to maybe be the man for a couple weeks. I think we're going to be 3-3 in that 6-game stretch.
Okay.
And if it goes 8, I think Vegas is in one of those games. Maybe they hit the road. Is it in Vegas? But yeah, I mean, JT's he's a pretty big part of the team.
He's the captain.
he's a pretty big part. But I don't think it's a player. You can, like, you are gonna just collapse without when you have another guy like Matthews and Gauthier.
So where does this beer fall? For me, it's between a off the glass and out and a little bit of Hyman. I'm leaning more to an off the glass and out. It's just too nutty.
Yeah,
it's very overwhelming.
You're not a lager guy.
No, not really.
And I like
lager or lager.
Lager?
You said lager.
Lager. I think you could say it either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a Saskatchewan thing?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going back in a month. I'll tell you about it later. I am gonna go with it's a Hyman. I always like a beer that incorporates coffee, but I don't think if I'm gonna crush beer that night, I don't think this is the beer that I'm gonna crush.
Fair.
But thank you, Wyatt at Liquor Planet.
Yes, and Cooler Guy.
And Cooler Guy, you're in our hearts. sorry about the broken finger. Maybe he'll return about the same time as Hyman. Oh, you know what's interesting too is like they are actually going to incorporate the 2 injured guys in while JT's out.
Maybe not though.
Yeah, maybe not.
They may not have to wait till JT comes back because the whole contract scenario. Because you can't send a guy down.
That is messy, hey?
It's so messy.
Lawrence Gilman's going to earn his paycheck.
No, it's Brandon Pridham.
Brandon Pridham.
Yeah,
that's right.
Lawrence Gilman.
Well, they're the same guy, kind of.
Not
Gilman's
even
the
close.
GM of the Marlies now, right?
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, so quick hockey pool update before we sign off here.
How's Trevor sucking nuts doing?
Well, Suck the Big One Trevor was in first place, and they've had a very unfortunate fall in the standings. I'm heartbroken about that. But I have made quite an increase. I've jumped up 14 spots in the last week. I made a couple trades. Doing great. For those who don't know, my team name is Keep Your Pants On. Whoa, I went to 10th tonight. Crushing it.
Keep your pants on?
Keep your pants on. And I just leapfrogged Suck the Big One Trevor in the standings. And Austin 416, which is a pretty solid handle, is in first place. So we have 32 teams. Good competition. And it's too bad you're not in it. Unless you are Suck the Big One Trevor. But I trust you that you say you're not. Well, we got some pretty tough games coming up here. You are, as far as future pods go, you are in Calgary next week.
I am with there until not quite sure yet what end date, but
what's the function?
Team BC is playing in Calgary, so I'm there. With
U16s.
Yep.
Okay.
And then hopefully be back for the weekend. Maybe we can watch Montreal, Toronto on Saturday.
Yeah, and wrap and summarize a few of the first games without JT.
Yeah.
All right. Go Leafs, go.